I put the cavewoman in front of a video game, immediate regret. It all began when I, Dr. Marcus Chan, finally got my experimental time machine working. After 17 years of research, countless sleepless nights, and 3 lab explosions that left my eyebrows permanently uneven, there it was, a silver capsule humming softly in the university basement. My plan was simple and scientific: bring someone from the past for exactly 48 hours, make basic anthropological observations, and return them to their time without causing any significant temporal paradox. I chose the Upper Paleolithic period because, theoretically, removing a single individual from a nomadic population would have minimal impact on the timeline. What I didn't expect was grog. When the capsule materialized again, instead of the expected bearded caveman I had seen through the temporal viewfinder, out emerged a woman approximately 1.65 m tall, with defined muscles, tangled hair down to her waist, and an expression that clearly said, "I'm going to kill you as soon as I find out what's going on." She wore animal skins that I honestly hoped were from extinct animals, wielded a stone spear with intimidating mastery, and smelled exactly like you'd imagine someone from 40,000 years ago would smell. My eyes welled up with tears. "Hello," I said in my best calming tone, raising my hands in a sign of peace. "Welcome to the 21st century. I'm Marcus. Marca's friend." She growled. Literally growled. In the first 30 minutes, Grog, a name she communicated to me through a series of grunts and gestures, tried to attack me 3 times, broke my favorite coffee maker thinking it was a living creature, and ate half of my lunch directly with her hands, including the plastic sandwich wrapper. But then, something magical happened. While I was trying to explain basic concepts like electric light and no, you can't make a campfire in the middle of the living room, my nephew Kevin showed up for his weekly visit. Kevin, 16 years old, addicted to video games, and completely oblivious to the fact that there was a literal cavewoman in his uncle's apartment. "Hey, Uncle Mark," he said without taking his eyes off his phone. "Who's the cosplayer?" Before I could explain, Kevin had already turned on the PlayStation 5 and started his daily gaming session. Grog, who until then had been suspiciously examining my microwave, turned his head so quickly that I heard his neck crack. On the 55-inch screen, a digital dragon breathed fire over a medieval landscape rendered in 4K. Grog's eyes widened. She dropped the spear. Her mouth dropped open. And then, she pointed at the screen and made a sound that I can only describe as pure primal ecstasy. "Ah, you want to play?" Kevin asked, already bored with his own game. My scientific brain immediately started screaming alarm bells. This wasn't protocol. This violated at least 15 ethical guidelines. This could cause irreversible psychological trauma in a mind unprepared for digital technology. "Kevin, I don't think that." Too late. He had already handed control to Grog. The first 5 minutes were delightful. Grog held the controller upside down, pressed random buttons, and looked alternately at the controller and the screen with childlike fascination. His digital character walked in circles, fell off cliffs, and died repeatedly to the game's most basic enemies. She laughed. A genuine laugh, full of joy. For the first time since she arrived, she seemed relaxed, even happy. I thought, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe this is even beneficial for the research. Observing how a prehistoric mind interacts with modern technology. Then came minute 6. Something clicked in Grog's brain. I literally saw it happen. Her eyes narrowed, her posture changed, and suddenly she wasn't just pressing random buttons anymore. She was playing. "Man, she picked it up fast," Kevin commented, impressed. Fast was a grotesque understatement. In 20 minutes, Grog had mastered the basic controls. In 40 minutes, he was executing complex combos. In an hour, he had beaten the first world on hard mode. "Uncle, your friend is too good," Kevin whispered, genuinely disturbed. "Like, frighteningly good." Grog grunted something that sounded triumphant, threw the controller on the couch, and pointed at the screen demanding more. That's when I made my second fatal mistake. I gave her access to my entire game catalog. Over the next 6 hours, Grog went on an accelerated evolutionary journey through the history of video games. He started with simple platformers, then action games, RPGs, strategy, first-person shooters. Each genre was mastered in record time. She didn't blink. She didn't eat. She didn't drink. She just played with an intensity that would make professional gamers look like casual players. "Marcus," Kevin called to me from the kitchen, his voice worried. "It's been 3 hours. She hasn't moved. Not once. Is this normal?" It wasn't normal. None of it was normal. At 11 p.m., when I gently tried to suggest that perhaps it was time to stop, Grog looked at me with an expression that froze my blood. It wasn't anger. It was pure, predatory focus. The same eyes his ancestors used to hunt mammoths were now fixed on conquering digital bosses. She growled a single word that sounded suspiciously like no, and went back to the game. Kevin left at 2 a.m., clearly disturbed. "Uncle, I play a lot, but that's not healthy. Is she possessed or something?" I tried to sleep, but it was impossible. The constant noise of game sound effects, Grog's occasional victory shouts, and the scraping of furniture as she changed position echoed through the apartment. At 4 a.m., I gave up on sleeping and went back to the living room. The scene was apocalyptic. Grog had completely reconfigured the space. The coffee table was overturned, creating a sort of fortress. She had dragged all the available pillows and blankets to build what could only be described as a gaming nest. Empty energy drink cans, which she had discovered and consumed in alarming quantities, formed an impressive pyramid in the corner. And there she was, illuminated only by the glow of the TV, her eyes red with tiredness but still wildly focused, her fingers moving across the remote with surgical precision. "Grog," I said softly. "You need to rest." She paused the game for the first time in 8 hours. She turned slowly to me. And then, in clearly broken but unmistakably intentional Portuguese, she said, "One more phase." My jaw dropped. You learned Portuguese? Game instruction. Subtitles." She pointed to the screen. "Now. Shh. Final boss." Apparently, in addition to supernatural video game skills, Grog had developed a basic understanding of language through forced immersion in subtitled games. Something that would take months to learn under normal conditions. What had I done? The second day was even worse. Grog discovered online multiplayer games. "Marcus," she yelled at 11 a.m., waking me from an exhausted nap on the couch. "Come on. I need a team." I dragged myself into the room and found her in a tactical shooter game, already in the middle of a ranked competitive match. Her account, which she apparently created herself, was already at the top of the regional ranking. "Grog, how many hours did you sleep?" "Sleeping is for the weak. Now grab control, we need to cover point B." "I don't know how to play this." "Learn fast, Marcus. They're coming from the left." Over the next few hours, I was forced to step in as support while Grog carried our team to victory after victory. She had developed complex strategies, communicated with the team through a combination of grunts and gamer jargon she had just learned, and cursed in 3 different languages when someone made a mistake. "You noob. Cover your flank." "Flank," she yelled into the microphone. "Marcus, get the sniper." "Sniper. Behind you." "Grog, maybe we should." "No time. They planted a bomb." My neighbors banged on the wall. Twice. In the afternoon, the situation escalated when Grog discovered live streams and professional competitive matches. "Marcus," she said, her eyes glued to an esports tournament streamed on YouTube. "I do this. I'm better." "Grog, no, listen, you go back to your time tomorrow. You need to take advantage of this time to get to know the modern world, not stay glued to a screen." "Marcus, shut up," critical moment. She wasn't listening anymore. She was studying. Memorizing patterns, analyzing strategies, absorbing information with the intensity of someone who spent 40,000 years developing survival instincts and was now applying them to a digital battlefield. At night, things took an even more bizarre turn. Grog had created accounts on multiple streaming platforms, started his own live stream under the name cavewoman gamer 69, and was quickly gaining followers who thought his setup was brilliant performance art. "My friends," she shouted to the camera in increasingly fluent Portuguese. "Today I'm going to teach you how to hunt digital dragons. Just like hunting mammoths, but with more pixels." The chat exploded. Donations started pouring in. Someone offered sponsorship. Grog, no. You can't accept money. You don't even legally exist. You're from 38,000 BC. Money is money, Marcus. Now be quiet, I have subscribers to entertain. At 10 p.m. on the second day, 6 hours before I needed to return her to her time, I found Grog surrounded by 3 different screens, playing simultaneously on 2 devices while moderating her own live stream on the third. She had 15,000 followers. "Grog," I said, my voice thick with despair. "You need to go back tomorrow morning. To your time. Your era. Remember?" She paused. "All the games." She turned to me slowly. And for the first time in 2 days, I saw something other than gaming focus in her eyes. Fear. "Marcus. I don't want to go back." My heart sank. "It's cold there. Dangerous. Food is hard to come by. Saber-toothed tigers want to eat Grog." She looked at the screens, at the controller in her hands, at the world of infinite possibilities she had discovered. Here Grog can be stronger. Here Grog can hunt dragons without dying. Here Grog can have friends in the chat who send fire emojis. "Grog, I can't, the machine only works in 48-hour cycles. If you don't come back, it could cause a time paradox. It could literally undo reality as we know it." But K/D ratio, Marcus. My K/D ratio. We spent the next hour arguing. Me, trying to explain concepts like temporal linearity and the catastrophic consequences of altering the spacetime continuum. Her, arguing that she had finally reached diamond rank and was 3 wins away from master. Eventually, we reached an agreement. At 5 a.m., I prepared the time machine for the return journey. Grog was beside me, holding an old remote control I'd left her with, her eyes red and teary. "Marcus promises something," she said, her voice surprisingly soft. "What? In the future, when you invent a better time machine, will you come back for Grog? Bring him to an era where video games are even more advanced?" My heart broke a little. I'll try." She entered the capsule. She turned around one last time. "Marcus? Try. Thank you for showing Grog the best hunt of all." She smiled, revealing surprisingly white teeth considering the time period. "Even if only virtually." I pressed the button. The capsule hummed. Bright light. And then, empty. Grog had returned to 38,000 BC, to a life of hunting and gathering, cold and constant danger, never to see another video game again. I cleaned the apartment in silence. The energy drink cans. The disarranged pillows. I turned off the PlayStation, still warm from 46 hours of continuous use. That's when I saw the notification on the screen, cavewoman gamer 69 has been permanently banned for suspected use of hacks. Nobody can be that good that fast. I laughed. I cried a little. Mostly I laughed. 3 days later, I destroyed the time machine. I erased all the research. I burned the plans. Not because I was afraid of the time paradox. But because if I brought someone again, and showed them video games again, I don't know if I'd have the strength to send them back. And also because I received a call from the university questioning 3,847 Brazilian reals in V-Bucks purchases on my account, and I simply couldn't explain that they were made by a woman from the Upper Paleolithic period during a Fortnite frenzy at 4 a.m. Sometimes I still turn on the PlayStation. I look at the games. And I wonder if, in some cave, 40,000 years ago, Grog is scribbling cave art of dragons and digital castles that his tribe will never understand. And what if, perhaps, Just perhaps, these scribbles will confuse archaeologists thousands of years from now, who will wonder how on earth people from the Upper Paleolithic knew about Minecraft mobs. Some regrets you carry with you forever. But at least her K/D ratio was legendary.